Caught in a love triangle. It was a warm summer evening when Sarah realized her life had become a tangled mess of emotions. She had always been the kind of person who prided herself on being independent and in control. Yet, for the past few months, everything seemed to spiral out of her grasp. Sarah had met Chris during her second year of college. He was charming, funny, and everything she had imagined in a partner. They connected almost instantly, their shared interests in books, music, and late-night talks about life drawing them closer. He was the kind of guy who could make her laugh in the most unexpected ways and comfort her with just the right words. Their relationship started slow, but once they were together, it felt like they were on the same wavelength. But there was one problem. Sarah had also met someone else. It was one of those chance encounters, the kind that people always talk about, but never expect to happen to them. Tyler was a fellow student in her sociology class. He had that quiet confidence that seemed to draw people in, and Sarah was no exception. They started working together on a group project, and before long, their connection deepened. Tyler was different from Chris in a way that was hard to describe. He was calm, thoughtful, and always listened without judgment. While Chris made her laugh, Tyler made her feel understood in ways she had not experienced before. At first, Sarah tried to ignore the growing feelings she had for Tyler. After all, she was already in a committed relationship with Chris. She told herself it was just a fleeting attraction, something that would pass once the project was over. But as they spent more time together, Sarah realized that her feelings for Tyler were not just temporary. She found herself thinking about him when she was with Chris, and she started to notice how easily their conversations flowed, how comfortable she felt around him. The internal conflict Sarah faced became unbearable. She loved Chris. He had been her rock, her first true love. But Tyler had a way of making her feel like she was seen for the first time. Not just as someone's girlfriend, but as Sarah, independent, ambitious, and full of potential. She was torn between the safety and comfort of Chris and the magnetic pull of Tyler's depth and understanding. One evening, Chris invited Sarah to a cozy little cafe they used to frequent. The lights were dim, and the atmosphere was perfect, just like their early days together. They sat across from each other, sipping their drinks, and Sarah could feel the weight of the conversation hanging in the air. Chris was talking about their future, plans to move in together after graduation, dreams of traveling the world, and building a life together. But, as he spoke, Sarah could not help but feel like she was a spectator in her own life. She was happy with Chris, but was she truly in love with him anymore? Later that night, Sarah met Tyler for a late-night walk through the park. The cool breeze was a welcome relief from the heat of the day, and as they strolled along the path, Tyler casually mentioned that he had been thinking about the future too. He talked about his hopes for his career, his passion for writing, and his desire to travel. There was something about his words that made Sarah's heart race. She found herself wondering what it would be like to be with someone who saw the world in such a profound way. It was in that moment that Sarah realized she was caught in a love triangle. She had two amazing people who loved her, but she did not know who she loved more, or if she even loved them both the same way. The guilt was overwhelming. She did not want to hurt Chris, but she also did not want to let go of the connection she had with Tyler. Each moment she spent with one felt like a betrayal to the other. For days, Sarah tried to avoid making a decision. She kept herself busy with classes, work, and hanging out with friends. But every time she was alone, her mind would wander to Chris and Tyler. She did not know how to navigate this situation without breaking someone's heart. It all came to a head one evening when Chris asked to meet at their favorite cafe. The air was thick with tension as they sat across from each other, both seemingly lost in thought. Chris, sensing that something was off, finally spoke. "Sarah, is there something you are not telling me? I can feel that you are distant. You have not been yourself lately." Sarah's heart raced. She had always admired Chris for his ability to sense when something was wrong, but now, faced with the truth, she was not sure what to say. The words caught in her throat. "Chris, she paused, unsure if she could continue. "I care about you, but I do not know if I am in love with you anymore. I do not know what I feel anymore." Chris's face softened, and for the first time, Sarah saw the vulnerability in his eyes. He had always been the confident one, the one who knew exactly what he wanted. But in that moment, he looked lost. "I get it," he said quietly. "If you are not sure, then maybe we need to take a break." Sarah nodded, the weight of the decision crushing her chest. She had never imagined that things would end this way, but she knew deep down that she could not keep pretending everything was fine. The following days were a blur. Sarah spent time with Tyler, but the guilt never left. She could not stop thinking about Chris, about what they had shared. Tyler, sensing her turmoil, sat down with her one afternoon and gently asked, "Do you still think about him?" Sarah nodded, the tears welling up in her eyes. "I do, but I do not know if that is enough." Tyler took her hand, his touch gentle. "You have to follow your heart, Sarah. You cannot force yourself to love someone, and you cannot ignore what you feel either." For the first time in weeks, Sarah felt a sense of clarity. She knew she needed to make a choice, not because she wanted to hurt anyone, but because she needed to be true to herself. She took a deep breath, wiped away her tears, and made the decision to talk to Chris one last time. It was not fair to either of them to keep stringing things along. She had to be honest, no matter how painful it would be. The next day, she called Chris and asked if they could meet. They sat in silence for a few minutes before Sarah finally spoke. "I have made a decision, Chris. I think we need to end things. I do not want to keep you in a relationship where I am not all in." Chris nodded, his face expressionless. "I understand. It is the right thing to do. I will always care about you, Sarah." And just like that, their relationship ended. It was bittersweet, and Sarah could not help but feel the weight of the goodbye. She still loved Chris, but in a different way now, more like a chapter in her life that had come to a close. After everything settled, Sarah and Tyler continued to see each other, but Sarah never forgot the lessons she learned from her experience. The love triangle taught her that sometimes love was not about choosing the right person, but about choosing what was right for her. She had learned that being true to herself was the only way to move forward.